Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Headkrack's Hip Hop Spot. It's a guy who I feel like in my personal life has been like that rare Pokemon card that was hard to get a hold of and hard to find, man. He's responsible for a gang of classics, and he's also the next subject of a TVOne Unsung. Ladies and gentlemen, one time for Special Ed.
Yeah, what's up, Peace World? We in the building.
Special Ed is in the house, man.
Yes, sir. Yes,
TVOne Unsung. And, like, this is one of those ones that really solidifies that particular brand for me. It was yours and Lost Boys. Because, you know, it's one thing to do stories on people that are always mentioned or at the forefront of the culture, but to dig below the levels and find the people that will really pop in and get into it at a certain time, you're definitely in the conversation, man.
Yeah, well, I put in a lot of work real early in the game, and I saw the potential for income, and, you know, I went out there after it. So I was just doing what I had to do to, you know, make a better life for myself.
Now, you were responsible for a lot of firsts, not only from a musical standpoint, but also hip-hop urban legends. Like, you know, like anybody who, like, picked up the first album, Youngest in Charge, there was always that big debate. Yo, does Special Ed only have one hand?
Right.
and
that was everywhere, man. I mean, the West Coast, down in Texas, everywhere I went, I heard that rumor. And it all originated from the fact that when I did the photo shoot for the album cover and the video before I got it made, it was like below zero practically. So, you know, we were out there in the cold and I had to keep my hands warm. So I had them in my pocket. So people took that and the name and put two and two together and came up with that foolishness.
Yo, like now a rapper will come out and just run with that. Like, you know, like you put a hook there and just make it work. So one day you see him doing something double-handedly. But it was really your skills that set you apart from all your competitors and anybody that was near you.
Yeah, well, then at that time, man, to even be respected as an artist or as a rapper, you had to have skills. You couldn't just over the hook and, you know, get away with it. You had to say something. You had to have a message, a meaning, or some sense of humor or something. It had to be lyrical content, not just, you know, something catchy, something that you can't really understand, but you like, hey, I'm going to run with it.
Got you. Now, maybe you can help settle this this long-time rumor in my head. See, when you was popping, I was living in the Bronx. I used to live in Concourse Village at the time.
Right.
Were you seeing a girl that lived in Concourse Village like around 89, 90?
Yeah, Co-op City. Oh, probably, yeah, Concourse Village, too. Yeah, probably a couple of other neighborhoods in between, too.
I used to always hear, yo, I just saw Special Ed. I was like, man, you didn't see Special Ed.
Yeah, nah, you see me all over the BX. My grandmother, rest in peace, used to live up there, too. So I used to always come up there, go see my grandmother, then hang out a bit. But, you know, it was driving all over New York was nothing back then, you know?
And my man Hassan wasn't lying. All these years, I thought he was lying because I would always heard you was in Concourse Village, but I never saw you myself. So it was just like, man, you didn't see no Special Ed. Because he used to like to make stuff up.
Yeah, nah, I used to be out, man, out and about. I'm a people person, you know what I'm saying? So I like people, you know what I'm saying?
I love it, man. So getting signed back then is different than getting on and popping than it is right now.
Way different.
How did your break come about? And you were crazy young, too, when it happened.
Yeah, well, my break came about because Howie T lived in the neighborhood, and I knew that he had already produced hit records that were out for like UTFO, The Real Roxanne, Chubb Rock, Whistle. So he had groups that had records on the radio. So I said, okay, well, this is going to be my best bet because I didn't even have any beats, tracks, or means of recording. I was a high school kid, so he was the one with the studio and equipment and everything else. So I went over there to him. He lived across the street from my cousin Jennifer. Shout her out. She out here in the A. And, you know, the rest is history. He threw on Impeach the President. I rapped for about 10 minutes on him. And then they was like, man, okay, it's a done deal. Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
Like, and you still hear flashes of things like that happening here and there, like in the culture. Like, I think Big Sean ran into Kanye West on the elevator in rhyme form. And that's how, like, Big Sean ended up with Kanye.
Yeah, sometimes it's organic. You have to see people to get it. You know, people will tell you all day, but until you actually hear or see them, you don't really get the connection, like get the full effect of what they're saying.
Word. Now, for anybody who ever like picked apart the words and the way you put words together, you were definitely a rapper's rapper. And coming out around the time that you did, everybody that was in the forefront just about was nice. Like, you're out here maneuvering around the same time where Rakim is moving, Kane's moving, Kwame is moving, who was a double threat himself as a producer / MC. A lot of people didn't know he produced those first records he did.
Yeah, I didn't know that either. I just found out recently as we start touring together with the alumni.
And which you're a part of with, it's you, Chubb Rock, Moni Love.
Dana Dane and me, right? 5 of us. And Greg Nice, too. Shout out to Greg.
He's down
Nice.
now, too?
Yeah, Greg Nice always been down. He comes in and out, depending on dates, where we at, what it is, you know what I'm saying? Shout outs to him and Smooth B. Hip-hop, we all a family, you know what I mean? So at the end of the day, where one of us can't come through, somebody will come in and, you know what I'm saying?
Fill in.
Yeah, pick up, lift us up.
Now, who do you feel like your biggest competition was back then?
Back then, it wasn't really, I didn't feel no competition, me personally, man, because I was ready to get at anybody. But at the end of the day, I think that the more successful artists at that time would have been like Rakim, Kane, Queen Latifah, MC Lyte, during that era. And Kwame, which I always thought was from Philly, but he's from Queens. Yeah.
I didn't know Kwame was from Queens.
Yeah, that's my guy. I thought he was from Philly.
He never gave me a New York vibe. I would have put him in Jersey in my head.
Right.
And I also see Philly as well. But yeah,
Right.
I never pictured him as a Queens guy.
Yeah.
He didn't rap no borough on his album.
That's probably why I was confused.
I get it. Now, are you from Brooklyn?
Yeah. I'm from Brooklyn, from Church Ave and 31st Street.
Graduate of Erasmus Hall.
Yeah, I went to Erasmus Hall for a few years.
Got you.
And then from Erasmus Hall, I went over to Tilden, Samuel J. Tilden High School for my last year of high school.
So when you're in high school, is the record out?
Yeah. The record, when I was in Erasmus, I was doing the recording.
Okay.
And then when I changed schools, that's when the record actually came out and I actually shot a video.
And
in front of the school.
How is it going back to school, being the guy who just shot a video in front of a school,
right.
has a record deal,
right.
and I'm sure like the dress code changed dramatically off the the label advance if they were still doing those back then.
Oh well, nah, I was always on point. When I was in junior high school, I came through with all the things that the kids didn't have. I had older brothers that set an example.
Got you.
So I would have all the latest and greatest because I tried to be innovative. I had to build Blast, what I'm saying, Calvin Klein's and Pierre Cardin and all that.
Now, was that a Bill Blast jumpsuit on the cover of the I Got It Made 12-inch where you sitting on the car?
Nah, no jumpsuits. I never liked jumpsuits. So
there was some dope outfit that you was rocking.
Sitting on the car.
You was sitting on the car on the cover. Let me see if I can pull it up.
I bought all my own clothes, though. Like, I shopped myself. I bought all my own clothes. I wore my own clothes until the second album. They tried to start styling me.
Were you going to see Dapper Dan?
Nah, we was on some street hood stuff. Dapper Dan was expensive.
All right, I'm trying to make the picture bigger, but you can zoom around. Yo, what's the brand of that, man? I always wanted that.
Oh, man, that's Adidas.
Okay.
That's all Adidas. Adidas turtleneck, Adidas sweatshirt, sweatpants, socks, sneakers.
Now, was that vicariously through the Run DMC Connect? Like, the profile?
Nah, I was all my clothes. This is how I dressed when
Got
I was
you.
a kid. I was probably 16 right there. All, everything matching. If you wore polo, you wore polo all down. You wore Adidas, Adidas down. Nike, Nike down. Everything you had to wear all down. Like in my first album cover, that was all Tommy Hilfiger down. That's when he just came out, and he had some exclusive pieces. I had the jacket, the shirt, the corduroys, everything, Tommy down. So it was how we dressed. It was our dress code.
It was a very Brooklyn thing to do. Because, me and Planet Asia got into a really spirited conversation one night. He was like, you could tell people from the Bronx. Because he was always saying people from the Bronx can't dress. And I'm like, I'm from the Bronx. And I felt like I was dressed very nice that night.
You dress nice. I think what they more meant is kind of like people from the Bronx might button it all the way to the top.
Damn it, that's what I'm doing right now. It's because the collar was doing its own thing. Like,
Right.
like I had the button to tame the
You gotta
collars.
tame the collar. I got you. But it's just little things like that, man. It ain't nothing wrong with the
The
Bronx,
Brooklyn
man.
guys always had style, though. Like,
Yeah.
we look at y'all for your innovation in fashion.
Well, that's what it is. And, you know, Brooklyn guys had a history of going to get the very best, you know, and bring it home.
That's what's up. Now, you know, amongst your many first, it was the first time that I picked up a 12-inch and grabbed a record that wasn't on the album. You had a song called One in a Million.
Oh, yeah.
And the bars were disgusting.
Right.
It's like this, y'all. Like that, y'all.
Yo.
Got nice hair, still wear a hat,
Right.
y'all. Yes, a special ed the same one from before. I got it made, still does. Yo, the
Yeah.
wordplay.
You know what? That was like an extra joint on the album. And let me just say this first of all. I personally, me and Howie T created the remix in the sense that others out here claim they did. No, son, you did not. Howie T had a remix for every song, every single that we put out. And I know other people wasn't even putting out records at that time.
I remember the Think About It remix had the Jeopardy bell on it.
I Got It Made, yeah. I Got It Made had a remix. Think About It had a remix. The Mission had a remix. Come On, Let's Move It had a remix. Everything we put out had a remix, and Howie T originated that, like making sure that everything had a remix.
And like you talk about always doing things big.
Right.
When you did the video for The Magnificent, you had Malcolm Jamal Warner in the video.
Yeah, he directed the video. He directed that one, and Come On, Let's Move It.
Yo, the equivalent of having Malcolm Jamal Warner in a video back then would be the equivalent of having like Donald Glover direct and be in your video like right now. Like that was a big move.
It was. He was getting into video production at the time, and he wanted to try his hand at some hip hop videos. So I was like, yeah, come on, let's go.
Wow.
Theo, let's do it. Yeah.
Man, I wish he would have like stayed with the directing. Like I know he does like music and like he does like poetry or something.
Well, you got to follow your passion and what makes you happy. I do know that he did do a lot of directing of episodes of The Cosby Show. So he did get into the directing, but I think hip-hop videos, especially back then, the budgets were super low. So it had to be something that he really wanted to do because it wasn't the money.
Right.
You know, it was probably the, prestige of it. Yeah, I did this video, that video, pretty much that's what it was. I don't think it was the money at all because back then our budgets was nothing.
So how much does it cost to do a video like Think About It when you have a hovercraft? To this day, I haven't seen nobody shoot a video on with a hovercraft and agents and stuff chasing them.
Yeah, because then they would be imitating me blatantly. That's all, and everybody would let them know. They don't want to be ridiculed.
But back then, what is something like that cost the label?
Okay, I tell you, the Think About It video was approximately $35,000.
Wow,
which was nothing. Nah, that's it because it was Chica Bruce was the director, and she knew how to make something out of nothing. Something like Think About It in the 90s, in the late 90s, would have costed probably like a couple $100,000.
Yeah.
Easily to make $150,000, $200,000 easy to make a video like that if you were using one of the, prominent music directors at the time.
Yeah, and like it was so cutting edge, man. It was like, yo, where can I get a hovercraft? Or like, your videos were an event. I would always look forward to checking out Video Music Box with Ralph Daniels or Rap City with Chris Tucker when he was still the mayor and stuff like that. Because you knew you would see these videos. Like it would be the only places where I would see Never Go Back and videos like that. And then even when you dropped the Mission video, which was another cutting edge piece of work. Did you come up with all the ideas and treatments?
No, actually, my guy, man, I ain't even, man, that's wrong. But my guy did that video. Marcus, I think his name is Marcus. And it was a good time. He came up with the whole thing, and what we had to do was kind of make it a little more comical so that it could be played because the story was a little, mild violence, rated T for teen, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you had the water gun.
Right. So we had to water it down and make it more acceptable to the MTV, so to speak. So that's why we used the little water gun with the milk in it and the little fake kung fu fighting and stuff like that. Even though that was a part of the story, we had to make it more humorous than serious.
Well played though. Like
Yeah, I
it definitely
appreciate
took the stick.
Yeah,
Because I
that's
would
why he
always
put.
wonder, like, why did they show the killing? You know,
Well,
I was
that's why
young.
they put the liar contest in the beginning because it was like a far fetched story. You know what I mean, so to speak.
That video is actually a metaphor for everything that's happening in rap right now. Like everybody's lying. Like
Right.
everybody's lying. Like people ain't even doing the drugs they're saying they're doing. You know, everybody's lying.
But some don't look like it.
Yeah, I've been to a
But
couple
yeah,
festivals where it's like, hey man, you guys alive?
right. Yeah, we gotta stop that. We gotta stop perpetuating, the genocide of our people, killing ourselves with drugs and abuse and alcohol and, all the loose behavior. I mean, we losing a lot of respect in our lives as well in this whole struggle, man. It's sad to see, and we are not doing anything about it off stage. So that's what I would like to see more artists participating off stage to prevent the destruction of our people.
I hear that. Now, out of your catalog, I mean, there's like, 3 major release albums, 1 independent joint. What is the weirdest song request that people come up to you and want you to do at the shows? Or the song that people run up on you, yo, you know what my favorite song is? Later for the singles. I like this.
Right. Well, I think probably what bugged me out the most would have been like actually somebody asked me for that 1 in a Million song, and somebody also asked me to do See It Ya, which was like a reggae song. I put
Yeah.
a little reggae song on every album because of my Jamaican background. But that and some weird song. Oh, Fly MC. Like
Title that I hold is the
yeah,
Fly
Fly
MC.
MC.
Yeah.
And somebody asked me to perform that, and I'm like, how do you even know that song? You
I
know?
mean, tell you, like back then, we used to have to digest the entire project
Right,
for what
'cause
it
was.
was.
A cassette.
Yeah,
too.
it was
a
harder to
cassette.
skip ahead
Yeah.
on the cassette. So
And
it
might
got
as well listen to
because
it.
even Do It Ya,
See,
it grew
see
on.
it
Oh,
ya,
See It Ya,
right.
it grew on me. Because
right.
at first it used to be my ears weren't ready for like reggae
Right.
at that time, so like I just couldn't process it. But then later on in life, okay, I have to respond.
Yeah, somebody asked me about that song just the other day. That's why I'm like, damn.
Do you do Hold Down live?
Nah, I don't do Hold Down live. I did earlier on out, but Hold Down was not a popular request.
What about where's Kazan?
Kazan is in New York, man, and that her and Howie have a beautiful daughter, Nastasha, and she's as old as my career because she was pregnant when I was recording.
Did he meet her because of you? Or?
No.
Oh,
They were already together when I came into the picture.
got you.
And when I was recording my album, she was pregnant at that time. So, she's the same age as my record.
Revelations has
Yeah.
some joints on there.
Yeah.
And I feel like it was a largely overlooked piece of work
Yeah.
in your catalog.
What happens is that when you want a label like Profile, when you want an independent label, if they don't market and promote your record properly, then it's likely that people will not hear it as much as they hear other people's records because they're getting the promotion. So Revelations was at a time when it was the end of my contract,